Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hopefully you like my Christmas tree. Um, Sorry we haven't been uploading as much here recently. I wish things were a little different with myself, but I'm doing my best, guys. Hope you know that. We're talking about the Liverpool Civil War. And by the way, shout out to you guys, because this channel, I love as a content creator. I could just post whatever on this channel. I really appreciate you guys, man. This channel is actually almost at 100,000 subs. That's freaking insane. So thank you guys. We're going to talk about the Civil War at Liverpool. I just said that out loud. Can you believe I just said there's a civil war going on at Liverpool? Yeah, what the hell is that? Look, things have been, quite frankly, miserable at Liverpool for the amount of money they've spent, for the players they brought in. But before we talk about any of this Salah versus Slot stuff, I want to just go on record and give you guys my opinion. Now, before we give you guys an opinion, what we need to tell you, because some of you guys watch videos and you get really upset at people giving opinions, okay? An opinion is an opinion, okay? Just because I have an opinion doesn't make it right. No. Your opinion might be the right one. Who knows? That's the beauty of opinions, okay? Clearly, Klopp saw something that made him want to go. We started to see the cracks in the system. Now, for me, when I think of Liverpool now, all I think about is Klopp and Salah. And obviously, you got legends over the years, Kenny Dalglish, way long ago, Stevie G. We could go on and name Liverpool legends. The crazy, I still think Suarez for the season he done. Carragher, right? But VVD, obviously. But let's just say this, right? The run that Klopp, Salah, Firmino, Mane, VVD, these guys had, Allison, for the period of time, Trent, Robertson, you know, for a while, Liverpool was one of the most intimidating sides in Europe. Like, I'm talking, if you had to go to Anfield on a Champions League night, bro, I remember usually having goosebumps watching those games on TV. Like, it was crazy, the aura that team had. Just stadium rocking. Man, and that has just gone. The players they have in this side, I think there's a couple of things that have happened. Now, first of all, Klopp felt like that era was coming to an end, guys. Obviously, every era comes to an end. We've got that famous Ten Hag quote where it turns out to be a meme because he says eras come to an end, right? We're talking about, I think he was talking about the Man City domination, but the run they had for the period of time they had, we're talking winning the Premier League multiple times. We're talking about a Champions League, right? And I'm sending those files to my editor. We talk about many just incredible nights, right? And we talk about the volume that Salah has done at Liverpool, and I want to say this, right? Before we talk about managers and BS and all this stuff, Salah, for me, is a Premier League great. He's one of the greatest Premier League players in terms of efficiency and output of all time. Salah, for me, is also one of the greatest players to ever benefit from a very successful system ever. And I don't know if there's a way that I can explain to you what I mean by that, but certain players like Messi, Ronaldo, yes, they have systems and things that revolve around them. I think those guys will go wherever the hell they go in the world and be the best player on the team. Maybe Ronaldo's obviously past that point, but we're talking about like these guys are just like freaks of nature, okay? Now, Mo Salah is a freak. Obviously, we've seen what he does with the ball, the way he can just be so effective out wide. Obviously, in his career, there's been some inconsistencies, some moments where, sorry, I keep doing that, moments where you wonder, what the hell did this guy, and look, even the biggest Mo Salah fans will tell you this. You'll watch him one week and you'll be like, yo, did this guy forget how to play football? And then the next week you watch him and he's got 3 goals, an assist, and he's got 2 of the goals by like spamming through 2 players while, quick reacting with his feet, and you don't even understand how he just dribbled past somebody, okay? So, like, there's a certain level of Mo Salah's game that is just so fascinating, and for me will always be one of the greats and will always be that part of that Liverpool prime they really had on this run. But, guys, the volume, I thought last season Mo Salah's second prime, was the reason they won the league. Slot was getting a lot of credit for what had happened, right, last year, but it was, for me, a way weaker Liverpool side than we've seen even previously in times they didn't win the league and we're going head-to-head with that crazy City team. Last year, for me, was not an impressive year for Liverpool. And I'm not being an asshole. I don't want you guys to think like, oh, this guy supports this team. He doesn't. I think even the Liverpool fans will tell you, it just wasn't super convincing. Like, they won the league. They won by a bit. But the style they were playing, the way Salah closed last season, it makes you wonder, even with Salah having that, like, crash out with Klopp, if you remember that, he was on a touchline yelling back at Klopp, now people are like spewing, oh, does Salah have this crazy ego? Well, I'm sure any great player has an ego, right? And what Salah has done for Liverpool is beyond commendable. So you have to respect a legend like Salah. But what you have to understand is that Liverpool started this kind of run in this prime. I feel like, what are we talking in 2016? I can't tell you the exact date. We're talking like 8, 7, 9 years of this crazy side where they're almost unbeatable. And what people got to understand is that no matter what shiny car you bring in, it's you can't replace stuff like that, and it's going to take time. So the way that I look at Liverpool right now, before we break down any of this drama, is just, man, they've put themselves in a tough position because when you go out and spend the money you spend, everybody, fans, people that love football, expect results instantly. Instantly. And we look at some of the players that they thought weren't so important that left. Trent, let's say for me, guys, me, and I'm not being that guy for Luis Diaz. I always felt like Luis Diaz was like, if he could find the consistency in the right place, nuts. Watch this guy play so much for Colombia and just been like, yo. And Liverpool knows that he's had those months and times where he's brought it. They're missing some of these guys. They brought in some guys this season, Wirtz, Isak, Ekitike, big money. And, who's been the best player on Liverpool this season? Probably Szoboszlai. I mean, maybe other people you would say, but, in terms of a side that wants to go out and spend that much money on these big-time players and in these big-time positions, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And I felt like last season, even though they won the Premier League, I don't know how the Liverpool fans are feeling. They took PSG down to the wire, who ends up winning the whole thing, right? But, man, that wasn't close. Like, the level in football between that PSG side, which is a great side, let's not take it away from them, and a Premier League #1 winning side for last season was a massive gap. I mean, God bless Jesus, who is Allison in net. Bro looks like Jesus. Because without him, they would have lost by like 6 goals, right? We all know that. And that's crazy for a Premier League winning side in an early knockout round in the Champions League to look that far off the pace, right? And so I felt like the last couple of years, the cracks in the system were starting to show, and it's just been an absolute nightmare because the worst possible thing could have happened this season. A side that I predicted to get first place, I had Chelsea 2, Arsenal 3. I think Arsenal, I said, was going to win a trophy. They're doing horribly. I don't care how you frame it because, look, the horrible for Liverpool is still only 10 points out of first with, let's say, 20-plus games to play, right? There's 0 on goal differential. 0. Guys, they've lost 6 matches out of 15. We're talking Liverpool, man. And the way these games are going, you watched the Leeds game yesterday where they're literally, choking another lead. And, the form recently, yeah, you could say it's been a bit better, but, man, they're drawing against Sunderland. They're drawing against Leeds. They're you know what I'm saying? The way it's going for them, the results, guys, and how it's been going recently. A lot of people want Slot out because, they had the West Ham win, but look at how this has been going. I mean, man, and you know what? The question mark was always for me with the way the season had started. It was so funny because they were winning every single game on a game winner. Their lack of control in these matches is really concerning. But at the end of the day, someone is always going to get the blame. So I felt like now, Salah's been getting thrown under the bus a little bit because, quite frankly, Salah's not been playing as well this season. We even saw it. It was funny because when they were winning those game winners, it was funny because a lot of the talk of the games was like, Salah looks horrible, or how did Salah just drop 90 minutes of playing terrible, and then he has this one assist in the end, and they end up getting the win. Salah has played so well for so long for this team, for the most part. He's had let's say over his career, that 15% of the time he's played bad, 85% he's played crazy. The amount of disrespect he's been getting, for me, it sucks to see because this guy's given his everything to this club. And now you've got this situation where Klopp has taken some matters into his hands, and now Salah has not, I think for sure, the last 3 games I've watched, he's not started. He didn't even get subbed in. He didn't even get subbed in against Leeds. He got subbed in, I think, against Sunderland. And, then against the previous match, I'm pretty sure he definitely didn't start. So, look, the way it's going this season, 4 goals, 2 assists, 12 matches, 13 matches. He's not been playing well. You can see here, minutes-wise, he had a couple really bad games, and now Slot's just not even playing him. So, look, this is where, we're getting to, stuff like this and narratives and stuff like that. And, guys, look, Liverpool fans will get on my case right now because they're going to be like, dude, we're not even that bad, right? We're in 9th place. We're still competitive in the Champions League. I think, what is Liverpool in the Champions League right now? They're mid-table, right? The 3 wins, 2 losses. Just for me, the standards, though, that Liverpool have, someone's going to always get blamed when things aren't going well. We look at Klopp, it looked like he was getting out at the perfect time. So, because it's one of those where you have players in that end of that era for me that peaked already. What Salah did last season was just such an abnormality. I don't know how he put up those numbers. But now you've brought in these players that have to get used to Liverpool, have massive pressure on a team that is declining in performance, with stars that are declining in performance, and those guys have to carry the load. So for me, if anything, yes, it's hard to acclimate to a new club. Yes, it's hard to have that price tag. But if you have those price tags, and I'm talking about Isak, who did a little baby move with Newcastle, and I'm talking about Wirtz, who I was saying is one of the next up best footballers who's gone here and just not been what he should be. These guys got to play better. These guys got to play better. At the end of the day, for what Salah has done for this club, let's read through some of these quotes. Mo Salah, Liverpool, I will always love this club. My kids always support. I think he means love or support. I love the club. I will always do. It seems like the club has thrown me under the bus. That's how I feel it. I used to have a good relationship with the manager. Now, all of a sudden, we don't have any relationship. I don't know why. Seems to me like someone does not want me in the club. Okay? And now a lot of people are getting on Slot because people are memeing how he's like addicted to playing Gakpo 24/7. And, all these narratives are coming out where it starts to get ugly. And now Salah says, I don't have to go every day fighting for my position because I have earned it. I'm not bigger than anyone, but I earn my position. And, a point to this, too, is like with superstars, it's hard with them, too, because at a point, they also hit a point where they're not playing as well consistently. They know what they've given. For example, with Salah, do we even have to say anymore? Look at what the hell Salah has given to this club season over season. And for Salah's frustration, I think, I had felt like that 23-24 season, he wasn't, still putting up crazy numbers, wasn't looking as good. And then you get that season last season where it's like, holy crap. And especially Salah, for him as he's now getting older, he's feeling like, yo, I just cooked last season. And, I haven't had the best start to the season. But now after 9 games, you're going to bench me every game because I haven't been playing well in a couple of games. So for me, I understand Salah feeling like he got thrown under the bus. It's not like he's put 20 games where he's just been miserable and he's done where, you got no assists, no goals, no production. And now he says also, I think that's the third time I'm on the bench. I think it's the first time in my career. Very disappointed. I've done so much for this club, especially last season. And, we had a lot of rumors last summer that Salah was going to maybe leave and go to Saudi, and, he decided to stay. So, you could just see all the little cracks coming out at the club now. You got a quote that says, Slot says, we signed Isak for 6 years, not for 3 months. But, hey, I'll be honest, is there someone to blame at this club? I just think it's a bit of misfortune. I really just feel like you look at the side that's going out there and like the side, yes, you brought in some crazy players, but the balance in the side, I know you brought in guys like Kirkes, and you brought in someone like Wirtz and Ekitike, who, I don't know what Ekitike's, I think Ekitike started really well. And Ekitike, for me, this was always the miss with Liverpool. And this is my opinion, right? He was playing phenomenal to start the season. Like, everybody was like, yo, this is going to be the next Henry, right? And then they do the worst thing you can do to a striker, and they bring in another striker for an even higher price tag. And it's like, did you really need to do that? That's the question mark. And then you got a situation where you have this tough balance of, like, which one do you play? Isak obviously was boycotting his other team, and now there's this pressure for Ekitike. And yes, these guys have ridiculous price tags, but it's not going to help the confidence or I would say the overall development of either. So you just have this constant, like, I feel like lack of just what the hell is even going on at this club. And, guys, who do you even blame with what's been going on? But what's the future look like, right? What's the future look like for Liverpool? Will they be able to get their shit together? No, I think I made a terrible prediction this season. I don't see how Liverpool is going to figure this out this season. And is the right change getting rid of Slot? Because Salah, right, is very unhappy, and we're seeing that he's not happy with the manager. And, is that the right decision with Salah at age 33? Is he going to be able to perform the way Messi and Ronaldo have been playing at their ages? I don't think so. Me personally, I don't think so. I think Salah's probably got another year or two in him. So is it worth it for a manager you brought in the first season where the cracks were starting to show, who still won the league? Is it worth it to get rid of this guy for a bad time right now for the future? I don't know. Well, then you go look at what managers are even available, right? So that's the next step for me. You know, at the end of the day, for me, it's a bad case with Liverpool where someone's going to get blamed because this has been such a successful team for so long, and you brought some shiny cars in that are just not doing what they should be doing, right? And then you got some players that are definitely starting to show that they are maybe past their peak, and now they're getting the blame. So look, I can understand Salah's frustration because he is right. What he's given this club, I get it, man. So what are you guys thinking, man? What is everybody thinking about the Liverpool Civil War? And I'm not making that up. If you go on Bleacher Report today, they've got this story saying Liverpool Civil War between Salah and Slot leaves season in tatters. Liverpool blows 2 leads and drops points versus Leeds. So yeah, we've got all these quotes coming out. It's just ugly. And like anytime you get stuff like this starting to go in the media, I just feel like it's always really off-putting for the chemistry and the success of a team. So the Liverpool Civil War, we will keep covering this with what's been going on. And you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Peace.